Welcome to Stuck in My Mind podcast, the show where we dive into the mind of a regular guy on his road to self-discovery. You'll hear everyday people just like you share the latest topics, personal stories, and things they've learned along the way. And now, please welcome your host, Wise.
And welcome to another episode. I am your host, WIZE, and I have another special guest on today. She's an author. She's here to promote her first book. Welcome to the show, Sephine Frances. Hey.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. I love having people on who do things amazing. Like writing a book is a big thing. Not everybody can write a book.
No, that's true. Everybody says that to me when I start to get down on myself. They're like, hey, you wrote the book. And a lot of people say they want to write a book. They never end up doing it. So
And that's what this podcast is about. Is about people who step out of their comfort zone and do things that regular people can't see themselves doing.
Yeah.
And so when we started messaging, and I saw, like, listen, this is a regular person like me, and a regular person like my listeners that did what I did, step out of their comfort zone and did something that I'm sure people was like, oh no, you're gonna write a book? Please, you can't write a book.
Right.
So what inspired you to write a book?
Well, I've been writing. I started writing children's books when I was in like the 4th grade. I would illustrate them and write them, and then I got into poetry, short stories, and then and this book took me 12 years to finish. I was raising 2 kids, and my husband traveled all the time, so I was a part-time single mom. And what inspired me to write this was I've had a lifelong passion for all things mythology. And one night I was reading a passage from Genesis in the Bible, and it talks about these beings called the Nephilim. It says, where the sons of God, which are considered angels, came to the daughters of man and had children by them. And that hit me as like, wait a minute, what does they were half angels, half humans? And then I kind of connected it with mythology about demigods, because, God's coming, Zeus, who
Yeah.
came down and slept with everybody and had tons of kids. And I kind of connected the dots. So I have an intermingling of biblical story and mythology, and it takes place in modern day. And I have such an interest I'm an avid reader, creative person. I have a love of art. My main character, Claire St. Clair, is a curator at the Minneapolis Museum of Art, or the Minneapolis Institute of Art, excuse me. I'm from Minnesota originally, and I've been in Nashville now almost 20 years. But this idea just came together. I had this dream one night, and when I woke up, it kind of connected with everything that I was thinking about anyway, that was kind of just nagging at me, like, this would be a great story. And I just started writing, and my first book, and to anybody out there who is aspiring to write or trying to write, my first copy of my book was over 1,000 pages. It was ridiculous. And so, going through the editing process and cutting it down and getting all the unnecessary or redundant stuff out of the way. You have to be willing to do that. There are lots of things and scenes I cut that I loved, but it was just like, no, it's just filler. And I finally finished it and got it published in February. It's available on Amazon.com and Barnes and Nobles, Books A Million, Goodreads.com, and you can get it from my website, SephineFrances.com. And so, yeah, it was just this inspiration. It came out of nowhere for me. I never thought to write a book, really.
Yeah, it's actually me. I helped my nephew. We published his second book this past year. We released it
Nice.
in January, and we self-published. His first book was self-published as well, but it wasn't really. He didn't do no proofreading, whatever. He just uploaded
Oh,
it, and but the second book more we worked with an editor, and we got it to where it just transformed the book, and now we're working on promoting it. We're actually going down to Podfest this coming May. I would
oh,
this
okay.
so sometime in about 2 weeks we'll be down in Orlando, and to help promote the book and help learn about podcast, growing our podcast and growing the programs that we're developing.
Hmm.
And so it all stems. It's just amazing that we're just regular guys. We're like he's a painter by trade. I'm a table games dealer by trade, and
I'm a mechanic by trade.
so for us to get into this media field that we've in now, with me my podcast doing well, us launching a production company, us launching an internet radio station.
Yeah.
It's just that's why we do what we do, is to show people like, hey, we're just regular guys that inspire to do something and want to create positive content,
Hmm.
and we want to share people's content. That it's just wanting to share people's stories and wanting people to come and promote whatever they're doing, because people need to see that, hey, there's regular people out here succeeding, there's regular people out here doing amazing things, there's regular people stepping out of their comfort zone, not just doing what we're programmed to do, is oh, go to work, not enjoy life, not try to attempt things that might make us happy, and enjoy life to the fullest. Like,
Hmm.
it's like people are afraid to try new things and to try
Yeah,
to experience life.
and it's difficult to sit down and be. I mean, now I've got my second book finished. It's a trilogy. I finished my second book. I'm working on my third book, and I mean, you have to be disciplined and write when you can, or paint when you can, or do your do music when you can, whatever your medium is. You have to, you have to really be driven. And I mean, like I said, when I got this idea for this book, it nagged at me for a few months before I finally sat down and said, okay, I'll write you. Stop talking, I'll write you.
But you're doing it, you're going the right way to promote it, because podcasting right now is a huge medium that people don't take advantage of.
No.
And so you doing podcasts, it's a big thing. It's really expanding your audience, because there are a lot of independent, hardworking podcasts that have great shows and have they might not have a huge audience like the celebrity podcast,
Right.
but they have an audience that are
Yes.
loyal, and that will, and if they show you, and if they have quality guests on, and they're like, hey, support this person, that audience does follow and support. And so that's why it's great to see people like yourself use using the tools that are available to you.
Mhm.
Podcasting is one of them. Being able to go on podcasts and talk about your book and help promote it. It's a lot. It's hard work.
It
People don't
is.
realize that us being, especially independent podcasters, to promote our podcast. I edit my podcast. I'm the one who do all the designs for my podcast. I do all
Mhm.
the cover art for my podcast.
Mhm.
It's a lot of work, but
Yeah.
to me it's worth it, because I'm having such a great time doing it. So
Yeah.
to be able to do it, and I don't know how you're doing it. I don't know if you have a marketing team behind you, or if
I
you're your marketing team, but
On my marketing team, yeah, I am. And it is difficult to get out there. And I've done a handful of podcasts now, and I've enjoyed every one. And I think it is a great way to get out there and talk to other people, because it is hard to do. I can't imagine, because I do a podcast, but all the work that goes into it, I'm sure is I mean, and it just must take up so much time.
oh yeah, listen, I have a regular 9 to 5 job, and I do my podcast.
Mhm.
and I had to when I first started, I went crazy. I went ham. I was recording like 2, 3 episodes every day,
Wow.
like 5, 6, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Like, so, but then I'm like, nah, I need to manage and scale it back. And now I cut it down to Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays are my recording days. And then
Okay.
Thursday, Fridays, it's for me to go and appear on other podcasts and appear on other recordings to help, because we have to do the same thing to promote our podcast is appear on podcasts.
Yep.
It's to build your audience by appearing with other podcasters and doing collaborations with other people.
Mhm.
And so this is big because you get to network with so many different people. You get to network with people you probably would have never met in
Mhm.
real life had
Mhm.
not had the pandemic not hit and people really started doing more virtual podcasting, more virtual
Mhm.
events, more virtual everything.
Mhm.
And so right now is the it is really big for people like yourself, authors and people who have content that they want to share to really take advantage of this medium.
Oh, absolutely. And I forgot to mention that the name of my book is The Silent Prophecy. And it really, besides the mythology of just the Nephilim, I mean, it delves into angels and demons and creatures. I mean, I bring in a lot of different mythological, and some people don't think angels and stuff are mythological at all. I'm not, and I'm not saying they are either, but I just brought in, just this new. I mean, I've not read a book about Nephilim, and I just thought it was such an intriguing concept that they could still be walking among us and we don't even know it.
No, no, it's
Because
listen.
it says too, I'm sorry, excuse me. It does say in that same chapter about the Nephilim that they survived the flood. And so that was intriguing to me too, because I'm like, I can totally use this to my advantage. They could be these immortal creatures that are half human, half angel. And it's it's
Oh no,
it's a really interesting read. I've had a lot of really good reviews on it.
you can definitely. There's definitely intrigue, and you can definitely go with so many different ways with a story like that.
Hmm.
And I can imagine, like you said, it's a trilogy, so it allows you so many different avenues to be creative,
Yeah,
and
it really
so
does.
to and listen, when you write a book, there's some part of it that's part of you in the story.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
you and what you believe in and what you and it's just how it's just a reflection of you. You're like you just having a creative, imaginative personality and just ideas that are just coming out,
Yeah.
and to be able to put those on paper, I could imagine like when you actually got your first book in your hand, you're like, oh my god, I did it.
Exactly. And to know, it was hard because it's like, this is my baby and I'm going to expose it to the world, and I could get a huge backlash. People could hate, I mean, just terrified of it going south. But again, it just has been my drive. I don't know what to do with myself if I'm not writing at least once a day for an hour. I mean, I have to write every day.
Oh, no, well, that's the only way you're gonna get the trilogy done.
Yeah.
You have to write it and keep it going while it's still fresh in your head and the
Yeah.
ideas are just flowing. And listen, that's it's with any creator. It's when you have that when you're in that zone where you just want to create content.
Hmm.
You just got to go do it.
You do.
Just go and excuse me.
Yeah.
It's just go out and just do it. And like when I first started, I made excuses to why I shouldn't start my podcast.
Hmm.
It was I sound horrible. Who would want to listen to me? It was
Hmm.
just me making excuses. And when I finally did press record, I realized, hey, this is fun. I enjoy doing this. And then when I started realizing, hey, I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Let's do the podcast even, and I really started grinding and started investing more time, investing in better equipment,
Hmm.
because I felt that if people were listening to me, I needed to improve because they're giving me something of a lot of value, which is their time.
Right.
And so, me being a creator, I could imagine how, like you said, this was your baby, that was your
Hmm.
baby, and you didn't know how the world was going to respond to it.
Right.
This is my baby, and I didn't know how the world was going to respond to it. And
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm able to share this journey with all the people that have been on the podcast and all the people who've supported me and shared their feelings by messaging me
Hmm.
and emailing, and like it's I can imagine how you feel, like this is your pride and joy, this is me, this is
Yeah.
something
There's
people
so
could.
much of me in this.
Yes, like it's in the history books now, because it's out there for the world to see.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of your legacy. That's something you put out there, like, hey, people are going to be able to find my book anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I really hope to see it go into bookstores. I mean, that would be my next hurdle.
It's not a hurdle. You'll get it. You'll do
Uh,
it.
to figure out how to get it into bookstores.
You'll figure it out. It's going
I,
to come to you.
it will.
Just like how the book is coming to you,
Mhm.
how to get it into the bookstores is going to come to you as well.
Yeah.
Just got to focus on that. Just
Yeah.
like that. It's not a hurdle. You got this. You already.
Thank you.
The hurdle was starting.
Yeah, that's true.
That was the first obstacle, was starting. Now that you started, now you got to continue and push. And so, just it's not a hurdle. You got that. You got
I
this.
like that. Thank you.
No,
That
listen,
helps.
that's what we do. That's what we do here,
Yeah.
is be supportive and
I
encourage people to,
appreciate
like,
it.
be like, listen, I got this far. Who says I can't get into bookstores? All right,
Right.
I'm gonna get
Right.
into bookstores. It's not a hurdle. It's not.
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. It's,
I
it's,
appreciate it.
we're here to encourage and inspire people to go with their dreams and not be afraid. It, Listen, again, the hardest part was writing the book. You got it written. The rest is cakewalk. I think she's frozen. Oh no,
There we
she's
go.
back. There
I
we
hear
go.
you
She's
now.
back. Oh, it's fine. This is the good thing is it's always I can always edit
I'm
stuff.
back.
If I can hear you, it's
Can you
fine.
hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. And now you're moving. Yeah, your video's moving too, so that's good. We're good. Listen, that's what happens. That's the life of a podcaster doing video. Things aren't perfect. Life isn't perfect. You got to roll with the punches and enjoy and laugh at those things.
Hmm.
Believe me, I've gotten kicked out of studios while and have had the guests continue to show.
Are you able
While,
to hear me?
yeah, I hear
I
you.
can't hear you. You're
You can't hear
frozen.
me. Oh, so one of us is having delays, but I can hear you. Hold on one second. Oh man, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? She's out. So I guess it wasn't me with the technical, but hey, that's what happens. Technical difficulties happen, and you just gotta roll with the punches. And she's back. Let's put her in your back. All right, things happen. Technical
Yeah,
difficulties
they
happen.
do.
And I was just explaining that this isn't the first time I've had difficulty, but it's you have to, like, just laugh at things like that, because if you get upset over that, those are things you can't control.
Yep.
So why get upset over it?
Right.
Yeah, no. I
Yeah.
laugh it off, and me and the guests always have a good time about it. But it happens. It's life. Sometimes I
It
don't
is
even
life.
edit it out. I just let it go and let people see. Hey, listen, it's the real deal. We are
It's real
real
life.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're real people. We're authentic here. Things just happen.
Yeah.
That's it. We
They
just
do.
Yeah.
They do. And I just have a love affair, and I just anything creative really gets my creative juices flowing. And when I can talk to other people who are creative, or like you who are creative and are working on a show, it's like you said, it's like, you can do this. You got this. You can, anybody can write a book. If you're scared, just start writing and see what happens.
I, it's amazing that people, to me, when I got furloughed from work and everything, and I started podcasting, and like you said, once you get the creative juices flowing, it starts coming out.
Mhm.
So I was able to just start podcasting and do and start doing, just started being more creative. I started a production company. I was like,
Nice.
hey, let me start a radio. It started an internet radio station, and now, like, the background I designed, I made it using Canva and other stuff. The background I have for even for the podcast itself, the audio video you saw, I made.
Nice.
So all these things are things that I've learned within the last 2 years, are skills that I've developed because of my love for podcasting.
Yeah, I get it. That's how my books came about. Is my love for writing and my my love of stories and wanting to be a part of that. I mean, I didn't know if I should self-publish or try to get a publisher, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to self-publish and see what happens and go from there.
And no, and that is not an easy task. It's believe me, I know. We self published his book, and it but it's worth it because we accomplished something. Like, we didn't think something we could get this done, and to get it done, like, without the big publishing company,
Right.
and be like, hey, we did this on our own.
Mhm.
Look at what we did. So
Mhm.
to be able to I know that feeling. I know how you feel when you're like being able to self publish and be able to say, yes, I'm a self published author. And it's hard work. Like, you have to come up with the cover and all these other things.
Mhm.
I believe me, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And I think being self published used to be frowned upon, like, oh, it's self published, can't be that good. I think it's changed so much over the years that it's, if you're self published, it can be legitimate, you know? I mean, it's considered more legitimate than it has been in the past. And I love that.
Because especially if people who are independent like us,
Mm. Mm.
and seriously, we didn't he didn't create the book to become wealthy.
Right.
See, he wrote the book as something for his son, and so
Right.
to put it out, it wasn't because we wanted to become rich for selling the book. No, it was because he wanted to share his story, share his, like, you share what you had inside.
That's exactly what I felt. I wrote a book I wanted to read.
Yeah, and yeah, so, like, it's again, it's being able to share a part of yourself. That's the real value, and the real energy, that when you like, I did that,
Yeah.
I was able to accomplish that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand when you self-publish, and believe me, he felt amazing to be able to put out a quality book,
Hmm.
and and something he's proud of, that he can show his son, like, listen, look, this is what I did. I did
Hmm.
this for you, and it's, again, being able to share stories like that, share stories like yours, where you step, like you said, you've been working on this book for 12, how many, 12 years now, you said?
12 years it took me to get done. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a long time.
Hmm.
But it's here. It came out when it was ready to come out. That's
Yep.
what it was.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And it
Yeah.
took a while, but I stayed with it. And like I said, my second book is done, and I'm working on my third book. And so it's become, and you get into a groove. I'm sure, as you have, learning all the podcast stuff and learning how to do it and upping your equipment and stuff like that, you start to get into a groove where you get it. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Does that make sense?
yeah, things become much more easier than when they were when I
Yes.
first started.
Yes.
Like I didn't know how to do certain things when I first started that I know now that helps me shave time off of editing, helps me shave time off of even running the show, even like how segments when I how I want to do segments, if I want to do segments, or
Mhm.
it's me really structuring more for me to be more efficient on my podcast. So
Yep.
I'm sure when you're writing,
Hmm.
you're like you already have a set idea of where you want to go with it, and
Yes.
you're able to just like, okay, this is where I'm
There's
at. Yeah.
more structure. It was much easier to write my second book and going into my third book, because you really learn, especially after your first book, if or novel. I mean, because short stories and poetry came easy to me, but like I said, I just wrote down everything that I could think of that I wanted in the story, and it came out to be 1,000 pages, and I had to knock it down to 300. I mean, I knocked it down to 394 pages. I mean, it's a lot of work. But once I got into the groove of it and understood, like, oh, I don't need this. I already said this. I know I know what I don't need to put in the book. Does
Yeah, it
that make
makes yeah,
sense?
makes sense. Yeah, yeah, you figured out where how to structure it.
Mhm.
You basically figured out, all right, this is how I I can shave off not writing all these pages because I've already said what
Mhm.
I had to say right here.
Yeah,
And you don't repeat yourself as it's not having to repeat the same steps over and over again.
exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
it's understandable. And like I said, it's all the creative process it's everyone it's somewhat similar, but it's again you learning your trade and learning your craft
Yep.
and learning how to create quality content in less time.
Yeah. Learning it, there's a learning curve to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what scares some people off from their passion or their creativity, is because they're afraid to make mistakes, or they're afraid that no one's going to like it. And, and there's a lot of negativity that can really disrupt the creative process, because we let fear. I know, I did. I let fear get in the way sometimes, and was just like, what am I doing? This is taking too long. It's been 8 years. I still don't have it done. Started to doubt myself, and going through that kind of cycling process where it's like, no, I got this. I got this. I can do it. I can do it. No, you can't do it. You can't do it. What are you doing? What are you doing? No, I got this. I got this. I got this. No, you can't. No, you can't do it. And then keeping at it is just do it. It feels so good, and you'll feel so good about yourself.
It's listen, self-talk is very big,
Hmm.
and so when you put the doubt in yourself,
Hmm.
it's can be very difficult.
Hmm.
So you have to really be careful what you say to yourself. Like when
Absolutely.
you say you can't do something, you're really hindering yourself.
Hmm.
Because if you keep saying that, then you're really going to truly believe it.
Hmm.
And so
Absolutely.
for me, it's always listen. If I don't know something, I can learn it. I
Yep.
know I can learn it. If I don't know an answer, I will go figure it out.
Yep.
It's not. I'm not going to say, "Oh, I can't learn it." No, I am going to figure it out. I'm going to find the answers I'm going to find the answers that I need,
Yeah.
and that's me not doubting myself and believing that hey, I'm capable of learning things that I didn't know that I like. I didn't know I could do I didn't know I could edit and edit video and audio, and I didn't know I could do these things because I never tried it. So
Right.
of course, if you don't attempt these things, you're never gonna know if you're capable of doing any of it.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And it helps, like you said, find out, talk to other podcasters or other authors or other artists, or join, groups online or forums online where you can ask questions and get ideas. I mean, thanks to the internet, we have a multitude of ways to learn and to share our work or to ask our questions or to figure something out or look up a video on how to, you know, and it's because I'm a part of forums and book clubs and all that, and to bounce my ideas or my complications, like, ooh, I wrote this, but it was supposed to end up like this. How do I connect it? You know, I bounce it off another writer or, you know, another. I have a friend who's an English teacher. I'll bounce ideas off her and be like, what do you think? So there's always someone to connect with that can help you or will be willing to help you. I know I am. I always post on my forums, or if someone asks a question and I have an idea or an answer, uh or a suggestion, I'll write a comment. And it I mean, and I've written questions and stuff like that too, and have gotten good responses that have helped me.
Oh no, I agree with you 100%. I'm a part of so many Facebook groups. I'm a part of so many groups all over,
Hmm.
and it's because I don't know the answer to everything.
Right.
I like if I have some issues, then I'll YouTube it, and if the
Hmm.
YouTube usually has a video that has the answer to what I need, especially when it comes to video editing and all that
Hmm.
audio editing. And then I'm part of groups as well, like you said, at forums where you can post a question, and usually people are kind enough to help you. And
Hmm.
that's the amazing thing with a lot of these groups, are that there are people there that want to help.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't had a negative. I haven't had any negativity from any of my forums or clubs or anything like that. There are always people who are willing to comment and or at least even give you words of encouragement. Sometimes I know what you're going through and it's hard, but good luck. And sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah, all you need to sometimes is to hear that, hey, so there's somebody else that's gone through what I've gone through,
Hmm.
and they've overcome this.
Yeah.
And that's like, okay, yeah, I can do this. I
Hmm.
can I can And yeah, like you said, it's sometimes just all you need is like a little word of encouragement.
Yep.
And that's a little it takes to start the fire.
Yeah.
And so I love this. This is why I do what I do, is to have people like yourself come on and show people like, hey, I'm a regular person, but look, I did this amazing thing. I published a book.
Hmm.
And who knows who's out there who's listening. They might have needed to hear this, or they might have needed to see this video, because they're stuck on publishing a book, and they don't want, and like, oh man, this she did it.
Right.
Maybe I can do it.
Absolutely.
So that's one of the main reasons why I continue to do my podcast, and I continue to have guests on to share their stories, because people just need to realize it's not all glitz and glamour. It is
Absolutely.
hard work as well, and
Hmm.
but you can do it.
But it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's really worth it. It feels, my husband, before I published it, and I was all worried, and I was like, oh, what if it doesn't sell? And like I said, I didn't do it for the money either. I do it for money either. I wrote it because I wanted, like I said, right. I wrote a book that I wanted to read. But he says, you know what? Even if you don't sell one copy, you wrote a book and you published it, and that's a huge accomplishment.
It is.
And that that's true, and that helped me feel better and gave me more confidence to put it out there and just go, hey, I did it. And I'm going to do it again with my second book, and I'm going to do it again with my third book. And if I don't I mean, if it doesn't go anywhere, that wasn't the point of me writing.
It's the point of you putting out your story. You got to put out
Yep.
your story. So
Yep.
no, that's
Absolutely.
it. Believe me, I understand it. I understand it, and I'm happy that you did share your story, and you are gonna be successful. People are gonna buy your book. They're gonna really they're gonna buy all three of your books.
Thank you. They will.
Yes, they will.
And this is has you're really good at what you do. There's been a couple of podcasts I've done where I've been a little nervous, and you are very easy to talk to. I feel
I get
very
that all the time.
comfortable.
I get that all the
It's been
time.
very nice. This is one of my better podcasts because I'm not you. You have a great vibe.
And that's what I want. I want people to just come here and feel comfortable. I'm not. Yes, you're here to promote your book, and yes, you're here to talk about yourself. But I want people to realize that hey, you're a regular person. We're here.
Yeah.
We're just here having a regular conversation, and just talking about how you felt when you wrote it. And people like that. People like when you're truly yourself and you're
Mm-hmm.
able to just relax and be yourself and not try to put on a show. And that's
Mm-mm.
what I want. I want my guests to come on and I want them to be comfortable. Like if we've been friends for years and we can just have a nice conversation and just laugh
Yeah.
and have a good time. And that's just me. That's just
Mm-hmm.
who I am. When I talk to people, I'm just myself.
It's
And
awesome.
and it tends to be that it tends to have me leading to having some great conversations. So
Yeah. And just to put it out there too, I mean, this is a little personal, but I'm a recovering alcoholic and addict. And that got in my way until I got sober. And for those out there who might be struggling with something that is preventing them from moving forward, it is possible. No
oh
matter
listen,
what it is. Mine was drugs and alcohol. I got sober and things got better. And it could be anything. Maybe you're afraid because you don't want to leave your job and put everything out there and whatever, but just I really encourage people to do what makes them happy.
oh no, we encourage listen, we encourage. I had like me, I went through my struggles, I had my demons.
Hmm.
Or when I lost my first wife, I was very self-destructive and then
Hmm.
until I just went and sought the help that I needed.
Yeah.
And we're very big on that. We're very big here on encouraging people to go seek help because
Yeah.
mental health is a serious thing. and
Absolutely.
and and so for years it was bad thing to try to, it was like, oh, people look down at you if you went and
Hmm.
sought help for
Hmm.
any of the issues you have, but whether it be drugs, alcohol, mental issue, whatever it was, there was always a bad stigmatism towards it.
Yeah.
And it's that it should have never been that way.
Mm-mm.
And so here we're always support. Listen, people and I'm glad you shared that with us. I appreciate you sharing that part of your story
Mm.
because people need to hear stuff like that. People need to realize everyone has gone through something in life,
Yep.
and some of us, thank God, have been able to overcome them
Hmm.
and are here to share our stories so that people don't who are going down the same path have that voice out there that hey, listen, we've been through the same thing you've been through.
Yep.
You can overcome this.
Absolutely.
And it's another reason why I do what I do is
Hmm.
because people like you and me, we need to share our stories. There's people that have been through what we've been through and are still going through it
Yeah.
and don't know how to get out of it.
Climb out of the hole yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the key things is reach out for help. Don't be afraid to reach out to someone to help you. There
Yeah.
are people out there to help you. There are people out there who are specialized in helping you helping you overcome drug addiction, alcohol addiction. You
Mental
just can't
illness.
be
Yeah.
afraid. You just
Yeah.
can't be afraid and not seek the help or let your pride get in the way
Hmm.
and let you continue down the same self-destructive path.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Because I deal with mental illness as well. It runs deep in my family. So does alcoholism and addiction. I won the lottery on that one. But but you can get through it, and there are people out there that will help you. And to not be afraid to ask for help. And I find that that is so the key thing is either people don't want to admit that they have a problem, or they're too afraid that they're going to, like you said, be shunned or disapproved of or turned away. And that's just not the case. I think there's more and more awareness of it, and there's a lot of places where you can go and get help.
Yeah, yeah. And again, once I thank you for sharing your story. I appreciate it.
Hmm.
It's you didn't have to, and I'm glad you did. And now is the time where you get to plug away and let everybody know where's your website. If you have your book in hand, show it up so people can see the cover. And
Oh, I have a book in the kitchen.
go get it. Run and get it.
Okay, I'll get a little tour of my house here. But my book is called A Silent Prophecy. You can get it on Amazon.com. You can get it from my website, SephineFrances.com, Barnes & Noble's, Books A Million, and Goodreads.com. And here, let me see if I can get it.
There we go. The Silent Prophecy. Yes, I see it.
See if I can get it up there.
There we go. Right there.
Kind of like that. There we go. The Silent Prophecy. Yeah.
All right.
That's the book right there. And I think it's free on Kindle right now. And I think it's on sale. I think they still have it on sale on Amazon. I try not to check too much because I don't want to know. Just it's out there, and I'm gonna just let it be out there.
All right. But it's that. Thank you for being on the show. Don't leave just yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna just do the shout outs right quick, and we're gonna chat a little bit off air.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh no, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you sharing your story. That was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so now it is time for shout outs. Big shout out to my Real Wise fam, Poppy J, Brandy J. I love you guys. Big shout out to the boss lady, Fina. Love you, baby. Big shout out to our guest, Sephine Frances. Thank you for coming through and sharing your story. And as always, a big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless y'all. Be safe. And you know how your boy Wise does it. Peace out.
Thanks for listening. Listen on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, and TuneIn. Find us on social media on Twitter at @wise_b_blunt, Instagram at @wise_b_blunt, and a Facebook fan page, www.facebook.com/wise76. Check back soon for new episodes. Until next time, peace out.